Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 2 of BIAL Safety Seminar 2012. And I hope you had a very productive day 1. Ladies and gentlemen, can I hear a big round of applause for everybody present around here on day 2? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to the next session, which is titled Integrated Wildlife Management at BIAL, which will be delivered by Mr. Hari Kumar. He's a VP and head of BIAL Engineering and Maintenance Department. He's an infrastructure management professional with over 20 years of rich experience in infrastructure planning, design, and construction. An airport process management specialist with 16 years expertise in airport planning, design, project management, and maintenance. A yoga expert and a great counselor conducting de-stressing classes on a voluntary basis for the employees. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to have with us Mr. Hari Kumar.
Good morning. I can only see two categories of people here. One is really, the called aviation gurus. I can only test their feet. And rest are really the aviation specialists or experts. So I prefer to be off the dais instead of having there. And I'm very happy to make this small presentation in front of you. This, in fact, a case study what exactly we are doing in BAL in handling wildlife management. So when we started the airport, I think all of you know the history of BAL. It's just 4-year-old airport. And there was a lot of expectation when we opened this airport. There was a lot of expectation from everyone, every stakeholder, especially from airlines, as far as this area is concerned. The reason being, the old airport, all of you are aware, that here you can see some of the press report just 1 or 2 months just before we opened our airport. So old airport was notorious for wildlife issues. There have been a lot of issues, the dogs, birds. So all airlines suspected that probably we are moving to a Greenfield airport and we are going to have a good environment where it will be bird free and it will be safe for operation. So we had to handle the things. It was the big challenge for us was first to match this expectation, how we can probably match these expectations of the airlines. Now if you look into our airport land, we have 4,000 acres of land. Out of this, around 1,400 acres, it was forest land. And forest land, as such, when it is forest land, there is a possibility for all kind of species, animals, mammals, birds. So this area was in general, because the thing is, every airport is unique. When you are talking about a Greenfield airport has its own problems. So this is the boundary. If you look, we have 7 villages all around. It's not 100% fully populated. But the biggest challenge here you can see in the northeast side, a tank called Betakote tank. It's a huge water body coming under minor irrigation department. Especially after the monsoon, this entire area gets flooded. And this is exactly on our 27 approach. So this is the biggest challenge for us. You can see here the picture of the airport here. You can see the runway, and if you go further, you can see the tank. This is the 27 approach. See, so close. Immediately after our boundary, we have space for our approach lighting. Immediately after the approach lighting, this huge tank comes. So in the monsoon, you can see how close it is when an aircraft is landing. It has to just land above this water body. And this is the real concern of this airport as far the site is concerned. Now, initially when we opened the airport, it was a construction site where 6,000 employees were working, 4,000 acres of land, out of which around 1,700 acres we developed for the airfield. And there have been a lot of, the scavenger birds, the dogs. It was living there. because there was possibility for getting food, the workers were feeding the dogs. And it was not an easy task for us to get rid of all these dogs outside. And also the birds. So we did some study much before airport opening, almost 3 months before airport opening itself, we set up our wildlife management team. And they started doing the survey. So the survey has given us initial inputs about probably a roadmap. Then we came out with a manual. Initially it was only a draft manual where we put our thought process how to probably handle, what are the mechanisms available, we started taking data. So we came out with a draft manual. Then again we realized that this is not, because even though we have some experts with us, this may not be the right approach. We need someone really specialist to help us. Then what we did is we brought another expert, specialist, and with their help, we finalized this manual. So this manual this is our Bible, we call it. We have 18 such manuals for handling various maintenance activities in the airport. One of the manual is this wildlife manual. They have around 180, 200 pages that describes about how to handle various issues. And other guidance document what we are handling is, one is, I think most of you are aware that ICAO Part 3, the service manual is one of the good document where a lot of things have been specified about handling wildlife, and also there are some FAA advisory circulars, and there are some DARA circulars. Even though it is very old, still we consider that it is valid, and even most of that, like in AMC and all, we present this DARA circular. The AMC was considered only based on this DARA circular. Then our manual, then additional to that, we again came up with another book wherein we call it specifications, wherein all the technology available, all the procedures available, various, the procedure which can be, or the methods which can be adopted for handling wildlife, everything we brought under a book. So that we published later. Then also we have 28 SOPs and 3 emergency operating procedure. Then 3 surveys so far we conducted. 2 were very detailed survey. I will give the details about that. So first one was the survey conducted by Ashoka Trust. We call them Artery. So they are basically one of the very prominent ornithologists based from Bangalore, but they have their operation all over India. They have a lot of specialists. Essentially, it took almost 3 months for them to conduct this survey and give the report. Now coming to ICAO, what exactly ICAO specifies, or what ICAO want, or which way ICAO feel that airport should operate. So Chapter 7, ICAO makes it very clear that, the coexistence. It is not that birds are coming and disturbing you. Birds were here. Much before we started flying, birds were here. And it will continue to fly. So what ICAO says is, you make your airport environment in such a way that, you modify your airport environment in such a way that your airport is no more attractive to the birds. So this is the biggest challenge. How you can modify your airport environment where, for example, if you take Bangalore International Airport, where we have lakh people come and go every day, including passengers, visitors, various kind of people, and different type of people from different culture. In fact, what we do, we attract birds. We create an environment where birds are getting attracted. Now we have to reverse it, entire thing. This is the biggest challenge. But this is a recommendation of ICAO. And ICAO also says that whenever you cannot probably provide your own people, probably you can have outsourcing. You can outsource this activity to someone who are capable of doing it. And also third recommendation is about having proper hazard survey conducted by the specialist. So these 3 recommendations, we took it very seriously, and from the day one, all our wildlife management is designed in incorporating these 3 recommendations of ICAO. So initial survey was conducted by this Atre, and they took almost 3 months. 13 kilometers area in and around the airport were covered. And their 3 people were camped here. They have been moving around, and their flora and fauna study was conducted. And they identified most of the species, birds and mammals, and also 30 species actually they identified it. And they came out with a lot of recommendations. This was conducted in February. We opened the airport only in May. So almost 2 months before they were ready with the recommendations. Then accordingly, also they vetted our wildlife management manual. Then there are a lot of interesting findings were there. 112 bird species they identified in this area. Out of that, they all are not really the threat species. They identified exactly the threat species also. Then various mammals and other reptiles which can cause problem. They are clearly identified and given us. Then again, basically those days what they told is Pariakites and Brahminicates were, and stray dogs. Stray dogs was really a threat. More than 200 dogs were inside the airport. Now, based on the survey results, then we formed our team, and the people have been trained, and various equipments were required for deploying. All these activities we did it. Then the combing operation we trained them, night combing and daytime how to do the combing, the habitat management. All those training happened for 2 years. Then we went for the trial. See, this is one of the you can just see this slide. This was in February 2008. This is before IOD. A day. Before IOD, this was a pattern of bird. It varies day to day because it is never steady. So Pariakites were the biggest threats those days. And still, today also it continues to be in the same way, but there are a lot of changes I'll show you in the subsequent slides. Similar way again, the various insects which attracts the birds. This was clearly identified by them. Then what we did is, we went to GKVK with our horticulture team. They have given solution because it's not that simply some pesticide or insecticide you bring it, spray it or do something, it will not work. You need to have a scientific approach. So GKVK helped us to basically to control this because we have to go to the root cause. Simply going behind birds will not work. What attracts birds? That was identified. Then this was addressed very well. And again, birds, I think, this slide is not very important. You know why birds are getting attracted. One is that you get enough food in airport. Second is a free flying environment without any obstruction, it can fly. Third is the thermal, the powerment heat. Always the birds like because in the morning hours, its a wing get little bit wet and heavy, so it can dry it. So these are the main reason why birds are getting attracted to airport. Now, there was a trial in March, and it was very, very difficult for us to handle this trial. You don't believe the day in the morning, the trial day, our people have to work hard to evacuate all the dogs. And again, you don't believe our own employees' behavior was so surprising those days. Out of 700 people, hardly, few people were there from airport background. Rest of the people were not from airport. They were not even realizing when they were protecting the dogs, when our people were chasing. Our own employees were protecting the dogs because they were feeding the dogs. This was a culture prevailing those days. So in this environment, it was very difficult and it was really a threat. That day morning even, our wildlife Haridasan and team and we were practically in airfield to ensure that we are so tense where the aircraft is going to land. How are you going to manage this? So this is the initial days we tried to handle. Then after the airport opening, then we thought, okay, things were in control. We opened the airport. Then to our surprise, we found the bird population has grown many folds. The day we opened, all of a sudden, because that area was earlier free, suddenly it has become a thickly populated area. There will be dust, noise, the aircraft started coming. Entire birds got, disturbed. Especially the kites. The sky was full of birds. And the next 12 days, there was so many bird hits in the beginning. And the media, in the initial days, they were behind us, telling that, okay, this new airport is opened, and it is no more safe, there is bird hits, issues. Many kind of reports were also coming in the paper those days. So it is not that, today we have very good system there. So we struggled, we failed to come to this stage. This is what I just wanted to tell that, because many people asked yesterday, especially my Air Force guys, Air Force friends, they were also asking about, no, we want to know something. That was the reason I thought of giving the history. But it's not that, something was there initially. There is a lot of people working behind their sweat, their struggle. After so many struggles, so many fail. Now, what we do? Now, this question, wherever a conference is there, I start speaking. Now, you heard my profile also. People ask, who is this guy coming and speaking about the bird? He's an engineer. He's an infrastructure fellow. The fact, I'm not a bird specialist. I don't know anything about bird. Then why should I handle bird? Why should I speak about bird? Now, the fundamental question before airport, and this again, fundamentally, I think in the BL is only airport in India. I believe so. I don't know any changes has happened in the recent time where The engineering department is handling birds. How birds are related with engineering. So this was a point we debated before airport opening. Who will handle it? Airside operation will handle, or safety will handle, or ARF, various options were there. Now, the question was, why birds are coming to airport? Who attracts birds? So if you look here, these are the reasons why birds are coming to airport. And all this area is falling under engineering. If I attract bird, I am the right person. The creator is the right person to give solution. So if my activities in the airport, whether it is environmental or cleaning or forest or construction work, is going to bring the birds to airport, and simply putting a wildlife management team asking them, it is your headache, you handle the birds, it will not work. So that was the reason we took the responsibility and integrated the wildlife activity in all these departments. It is not that you have a centralized team. We have a specialist of 3 people with another 24 people in the field doing the wildlife activities. Not that they are doing the entire wildlife management. Whether it is environmental or even what do you call the horticultural, they have SOPs. Now, for example, the horticultural, they have been told very clearly the grass height has to be maintained between 15 and 20 centimeters. It is told to them why. They are clearly aware about why it has to be maintained. Similarly, with cleaning people. So everyone is having responsibility to contribute towards making this airport, the environment in such a way that the birds are not getting attracted. This is what I am calling about integrated wildlife management. So all these departments contribute. In addition to that, again, air traffic control, they are really the north center in the airport. They are the part of this. Then AOCs is the part of this. Apron controllers are the part of this. ARFF. So all these departments together today handle the wildlife issues in BAL. So here you can see why the wildlife control is brought under airfield maintenance. So when it comes to maintenance, all these people have responsibility in contributing. So everyone together contribute to this. One example I can tell you, because so many cases are there. One simple example like the drainage people. See, drainage department, with the department they handle the drainage. What they want in the rainy season, they want the water, the rainwater to be going out to Betakote Lang at the earliest possible. If you close this, if you put mesh like this, what happens? There may be possibility that leaves, other things will come and obstruct. And there was cases of flooding initially. So those people will be blamed. And what wildlife people want, wildlife management department want, they want this to be put, they want this mesh to be put because they were scared that dogs will enter. Now there is a conflict. Since everyone's have a common responsibility and everything is coming under one department, we found solution later. We found, okay, let us have mesh, but we will have lifting arrangement there. Whenever the rain comes, because during rain, no dogs will enter through that. So that time only you need to open it. So we put the lifting arrangement when the responsibility is clearly fixed. So that when just before onset of rain, somebody will quickly go open it, and after the rain is over, it is closed. So this way, different areas we found solutions. And again, the vegetation. Initially, there was a lot of eucalyptus trees, especially on the approach side. Around 69 acres of the vegetation, we got removed it after airport opening. That has given good result. And also the grass management. In the beginning, when we designed itself, there are two reasons why the greenery has to be maintained. One is to prevent soil erosion, and second is wildlife management, because the birds do not see the insects. At the same time, we don't want very tall grass where any other reptile or mammals also start living. So now what we did is, in the beginning itself, we made a combination of these two grass, Bermuda and Kikyu, because Kikyu is a grass which has the thick roots. It can hold the soil. At the same time, to cover the gap, we need Bermuda. So this combination was used everywhere, and this is giving very good result. And a similar way, the grass height management also, I told about insects. Various insects have been identified. Then we found solutions. Then termite. This entire area was forest land, lot of trees were cut. Lot of area we filled it. In the filling also there was wood and the pieces were there. So this was creating, termite. Termite is a big challenge. Then we did a special survey to identify all these termite affected areas. So areas were clearly identified and marked. Then we went for termite treatment in all these areas. So this is another major activity we took it. And now it is conducted. It is done in periodical basis. I think one of the slide later I'll show you how it is working for us. Then maintenance of unpaved surface, we have scheduled maintenance, including the weekly runway closure. During runway closure, we have all equipments. If you look into our horticulture department, we have all equipment for moving it, removing the debris, and they engage more than 50 people during the runway maintenance to ensure that your grass is maintained at the proper height. Then waste management, it is a big subject. I don't want to touch in this area, but BL has already made a benchmark as far as this area is concerned when we received last year the national award for the excellent waste management. And this waste management is one area where we ensure that nothing, anything, especially the food waste, we never handle it in open. And we have a centralized waste management center, and even the vehicles which is carrying the waste from the building and other areas, that is covered vehicle. And the airfield, especially everywhere, from the aircraft waste, we have a process, and the ground handler, whatever they create, there is a process. The apron control, apron cleaning, and how the waste is handled, there is a clear-cut process. There are SOPs. So this is handled in a very efficient manner. That helps us. Now we have again the people in the end. We have 11 people per shift working to practically manage the show, in addition to all this support from other department. So they are deployed, and every team member is issued with a hazing kit that includes everything. Go morning on the moment they are put into operation. They have to work in adverse condition, whether it is rain or sun. So all essentials are there, including their communication equipment, the walkie-talkie and bird bombs, the 7-shot launcher, guns. So this is, they have to collect it, and they have to also, there is a briefing in the morning, then people are deployed in the field. So this is just a sample deployment, how it is done, but this go on changing. Depending upon the feedback, how we change it again, I'll tell you later. So a lot of things can be predicted that today, how the things are going to be, depending upon this deployment will change every day. Then this is a communication structure. All the bird watchers and bird chasers are in touch with the supervisor on RT. Everybody is available on RT. And he is again in touch with the wildlife control team of BAL and also with AOCC. And ATC again start, function as a nerve center. They get feedback sometime from pilot. They immediately alert AOCC. AOCC again, depending upon the gravity of the situation, either he contacts supervisor or the mobile team. So quickly they move to the area where the threat is there and disperse the bird. This is the way the communication channel in BL. Now coming to the devices, the equipment and various devices what we use. The sound gun is very popular in bird management. Every airport, I think they use it, but it has its own problem. You can't use it continuously. Birds get used to it. So it has certain settings like the frequency and loudness can be always changed, and also we can always transport it from place to place. So if we use it really intelligently, we can effectively use it. That's what we do it. We don't put it at one place and just go on banging it. Depending upon the need, our mobile team go on shifting it, and the frequency and noise level also we set it. Then the scary one, this was working initially a little bit. It also, suddenly it gets up with a loud noise. It can scare the bird, but I'm not very convinced that it's a very effective tool. Similar way, the electronic bird speller, it also has the problem of, birds getting used to it. But here what we did is we did now this equipment is with solar panel, and also it is mounted on our vehicle. So again, this is not continuously used. Depending upon the need, we use it. Then bird bombs are very heavily used. This again, no FOD bombs. This is basically used by all the bird chasers as the scaring mechanism. And other one, the 6-shot launches, this we found is a bit expensive, but this is working very well. Now we are again purchasing another 6 more. This is working very well because this can travel up to 200 feet with noise and smoke tail, and it just practically to chase the bird. So this is working well, but cartridges are a bit expensive, but it's working good with us. This is what I told about the electronic repellers mounted with a solar panel or mounted on the vehicle. So this can quickly we can transport based on the feedback what we are getting from the field. Then the laser torches, there are 2 kinds. One is the sport one, up to 1 kilometer you can. This is good for scaring the crows. Crows get dispersed fast. And another one is it is having a 3-kilometer range. It gives a stick effect, the beam. With that you can try to, when runway you can't go, there is a bird they spotted, maybe standing on a building itself they can try. But sometime it works, especially the first time it works very well. But for the kites, it will not work. Smaller birds, it is working effectively. Then the bird watchers, again, afterwards we found, many times they are seeing some bird. Many times they were not able to exactly identify what bird. So then we introduced this binocular with inbuilt camera, so they can click it. So later when they come to office, they download it and exactly examine, because there are a lot of new species are entering now. So I'll show you the data. So this bird watchers, the kind of data they are giving us on daily basis. This is a real base today for us to really predict the things and plan our activities. So this camera also helps us in getting the species details. Now the morning, these people are a lot of activity. Basically the cleaning, they have to identify the morning. There will be a lot of dead insects lying here, especially just below the high mast and street lighting. So they coordinate with the team. First morning around 5 o'clock itself, all this cleaning activity before the birds comes. This all dead insects has to go. So that is the first job they do it. Then also they take the feedback from the night. If any special combing or special operation is required that day, they do it. Then these are the various activities handled by our wildlife control team, including generating MIS. Because these birds today, daily basis, the number of birds which is crossing our airfield, the species, at what height, which direction, all these kind of detailed data is provided by these people. And daily MIS is generated. That goes to, including me, I get a daily MIS about entire activities happened in the airport. Then periodically this MIS is created. That is analyzed and lot of discussions and debates happens on that. Then every year we go on changing our SOPs and manuals based on this feedback. And again, in the end, every airport is unique. Whatever is working for BAL may not work for Delhi or Mumbai or even Air Force. So you need to have your own, with your own learning, you need to develop your own wildlife management program. So like our teams, just simple things, some of the lot of innovative ideas they had and they start implementing it. One such, as an example, I'll tell you, when this kites operation is too high in the airfield, in say the 2-7 approach, now you can't continuously go and disperse them because a lot of flight is there. First thing what they do is, divert the attention. Complete this 13-kilometer area survey. And quickly I'll show you some of the recommendations. We are just in the implementation process. So what kind of, the minute things they have identified. Like they identified all the water bodies. Still, there are a lot of area there, water bodies there that attracts even birds. So we already started taking action. Similar to the vegetation control, they actually identified the airfield still which are the area we need to address. So that something short term already we attended, long term we are awarding a contract now. Similar way this, the small pockets, sometimes we ignore it on the pole or high mast or within the building where birds can nest and start living. These so many areas they identified it, then we addressed it in many areas, we had to get it closed, then we made changes in the building. And also periodical inspection we implemented now. And this recommendation still we are considering that they recommended again that our team size should be a little bigger, that we are internally discussing it, we are not taking a decision on this. Then new devices they recommended. So something we already purchased and already implemented, but another major, most of the items are under procurement process. In another 2-3 months we'll be getting all these new equipments again. Then that various trainings they identified it, including the snake. You can see our own wildlife controller is holding the snake. So this training was conducted for everyone. And many other internal trainings we implemented based on their recommendations. Then this the combing and habitat management. They made a few recommendations that also we are implementing. Then periodical nest removal. This we did it. And also waste management, few more recommendations they did it. See, these are also under implementation. Then illegal fish farming, it is not in our control, but we are attacking it through AEMC. Then the road kill, this happens very frequently in the night. especially on the perimeter road and other area. The vehicle hit some mammals or something, and they leave the body and come. So this creates big issue. It attracts big birds. So now we educate every driver that on the moment you hit something or if you find something on the road, what they are supposed to do, to whom you to be informed. So this carcass removal now we start implementing well. So this is what the new survey what we did is helping us. Now coming to the last portion about the data, it was a lot of data we receive. How this data is useful for us, and also predictive management. This is what people laugh, because the birds are the most unpredicted things, unpredicted species, just moves. So what are you going to predict about the birds? But your SMS makes it very clearly, SMS yesterday also we were listening that it speaks about proactive, reactive and predictive system. You need to have something to predict. So we are thinking, what are we going to do? Because huge data we were getting. After 1 year of operation, even I myself started asking Haridasan, what are we going to do with all this data? Where it is? It's all there in the computer. But what are you going to do with this? Keeping a lot of, owning a library doesn't make a person wise unless he spend time to read it and acquire the knowledge. So he thought, let us start analyzing this data. Maybe something will come out. Then we started taking out the data, put the people, started analyzing, making certain trends. So some of the data analysis, what we do, I will just show you. This is what daily we get it. This is only one page, like that 4 pages data daily I get by mail. Not only me, safety herd, everybody get by mail. There everything will be there, all kind of birds they observed there. Now with the direction, then the deployment, what action they are done, how much cartridge they use, consumables, all details are coming there on daily basis. Now, for example, if you look here, the yearly bird movement for the last 4 years. The first year we were having 2008, we had only 6 to 9, only 3 hours we were doing this observation. So that is why that green, this is small. So that you can ignore. But otherwise, if you look into this, it clearly gives a trend. It clearly gives a seasonal trend. Every month, there is some change. Last 3 years data, if you take it. Now here, again, you can see the yearly data. So it clearly indicates that bird population has not come down. It is only going up because area is getting now populated. More people, definitely, you are attracting more birds. It's only going up. Now here you can see the species-wise, the total from the airport opening date till date. Species-wise, if you look into the color, you will always see some trend. First is the overall is the seasonal effect, yearly, up and down it is going. But certain things you can see some color slowly coming down and some new color is getting added. Now the present, the daily, earlier I had shown you one slide. Today if you look, the things have changed. The Pariakite population has gone much more. Initially before airport opening only around 30, average 30 we were having it. It has gone many folds higher. And crow, the house crow is the second biggest threat in this airport today. And here again, if you look, the most problem species, the house crow is coming down slowly. It was a big, the number was so high in the first year, then slowly it is coming down. This is again interesting slide, your ATM versus BTM, your air traffic movement and the bird movement. The morning we have a peak, evening we have a peak, and you can see the bird movement is also in the peak in the same time. When you have peak air traffic movement, that's the time we have to handle the birds also. The bird strike throughout from airport opening, if you see it, you can see Manduais. So initially it was big challenge for us. Then slowly it has come down. Now it is very much in control. Here you can see the trend, as ICAO says, in 10,000 movement. Initially, first year, 2008, look, 2.4. It came down, we could bring it down in this condition to 1.5, then 1 to 0.90. Today we are standing at 0.5 this year so far. This is what I told you, we never had, the excellent system in the beginning. With a lot of struggle, this is a way, very slowly, we could bring the things into control. Here again, aircraft operator. I think probably the birds have some color choice also. Initially, it was behind red, kingfisher. Now it is behind indigo, blue. They started liking blue now. Anyway, there's a last 3 years, the kingfisher was the worst affected. Now I think there's a trend going towards indigo. But if you look again as per ICAO, it's a huge variation. Yes, Indigo stands much higher, 2 strike per 10,000 operation. Singapore you can ignore, it's only 1 strike and the number of operations is less, number of movement is less. So it is showing 6.8, so you can just ignore it. But otherwise, Indigo, the strike rate and Spices, Indigo and SpiceJet is on higher side, but rest of the aircraft operators, I think the strike rate is very much below ICAO specified limit. Similar species involved in the bird strike, you can see the periakites throughout. That's the biggest threat, around 80%, 70-80% of the strikes are from periakites. And runway in use, 27 and 09. You can again see 80%, more than 80% of the strikes are happening on the 27 side, not on 09. Again, the phase of the day, daytime is the maximum affected compared to night. Now night again, a new trend we found in the last 2 years. The owl is creating a problem. Last year we had 4 strikes in the night. It was very less earlier. So that is slowly, increasing now. Phase of the flight, if you look, you can again see landing, maximum strike happened during landing. Then second is again during takeoff. Now, this year up to July, if you again look here, now one more interesting thing I wanted to bring to your knowledge. So it is again on rise, the January, February, slowly it is going to the peak. And this is a trend every year. If you look here, you can see always January to May, June, July, these 3 months, the bird movement is very highest. And if you take the bird strike also, in the last 3 years, if you take, these 3 months is the highest. Bird strike happens maximum during after monsoon comes, monsoon and post-monsoon period. So further, if you make analysis about July is again the highest. In all the year, if you take July, is the highest. Now July, if you go for further detail, I'm just giving an example how the data can be used or how in depth you can go with this data to predict certain things. If you go in July, in the last 4 years, the bird movement, if you look, you can see it's highest, more than similar way bird movement trend. July, the species wise, if you look. July, the flight phase, 6 strike was in takeoff, 6 in landing, and 1 in approach. Similar way, time of strike, if you look in July, maximum 3 strike happened in between 6 and 7, then followed by 2 between 7 and 8, and 8 and 9. So except 2 out of all these strike, you can say that we call it bird warning period, that is between 6 and 11. So during this bird warning period only maximum strike has happened. Species wise, the periakites contributes to the highest, the 9 followed by 1 brahminicates and other 2, 1 was unknown. Problem species last 3 years remain same. The periakites was the biggest threat for us. Now again about all this data, I don't know whether when you are going through this, that it gives some hint about probably how we can predict certain things. For example, if you look about the bird movement, for a period of time when we observed it, we found there is a specific pattern of movement. The morning you always find this movement from south to north. Again, a particular time you will find certain species moving from one direction in a particular angle. This continues more or less. The number may change, but this path and time is more or less predictable now. Similarly, evening you will find this return path because it always moves to the roosting place to feeding place. The number may vary, but this direction and the flight path of these birds remain more or less same. So this gives you lot of indication about what kind of, where I should position my equipment, where I should concentrate more. Again, the seasonal effect you have seen. Each season, how it changes. So based on this, more or less, you cannot predict everything, but around 70-80% your schedule of operation, you can freeze now. So this is the way the data analysis help us. Another one example I'll show you. In 2008, October if you take, one particular day, 7th October was the highest bird movement, around 1,200 birds. The periakites were the maximum we found. Okay, we just ignored it. It happened and it was a big problem. I think there was a strike also that day. But next year data, when we look again in October, only three days difference, we found same thing. So that means there is something wrong, you know. What is happening in October 7 or 10, something has happened. Then we observed it. We found the winged termite, you know, there is a season, the termites gets wings and it fly in the night. And the morning you will find all these dead termites. Now, the termite analysis, I have shown you the slide, how we could identify the places. Now we take advanced action now. We know that this is the time this winged termite come. 1 month before itself, we start taking action. Now for the last 2 years, we didn't have this issue. So this is a way probably the predictive, when we start analyzing the predictive management, even though birds are unpredictable, but we can probably use our intelligence and our wisdom to draw some conclusions and manage it in a better way. Now coming to other area, still we have a lot of challenges because public is sensitive. Now many times we get calls from the press telling that, oh, you are shooting the birds, and also we received 2-3 times a notice from the forest department telling, you know. So we always tell them that we want, if you really is a threat in the last moment, very rarely there may be a case the flight is actually landing and one bird is going to hit, we may use, otherwise we don't want to kill the birds at all. Otherwise there's no need for us to invest a lot of money in this, you know, buying equipment, putting the people, the process. So our always prime priority is not to kill the birds. That's what we are doing it. Then birds getting used to it, that I already explained, so we had to find new methods every time to disperse the birds. Then this Betakote irrigation tank, their fishing activity was there. Now AEMC has helped us to stop the fishing activity. And also the waste dumping outside the airport. Then unauthorized slaughteries, all these things are creating, I think Air Force is also facing big problem from this. So this is the area AEMC is coming to picture, and wherein we are able to take it up with the local body. And also there is a local subcommittee under AEMC. So that also we meet regularly at airport, and small issues are discussed with the local authorities. They also have issues because they don't have fund, and many areas we have to support them. But somewhere the things are in control now because we are getting local support. And again, the awareness is required. Many times when we go to village and tell the people that, okay, you should not put the waste here, this is creating attacking the bird, they say, hey, why should I bother? Because I don't fly, you know. You want to operate an airport, but I am a villager staying here, you have taken my land also. Now you are telling don't put the waste here. I am not flying, okay. Even if it's hitting somebody, someone else is going to suffer. Then we have to educate them, telling that story. If a bird hit happens, if the flight is going to collapse here on your village, it is going to crash on your village, you are going to die. Your children are going to die. Your property is going to get damaged. So this education class, we periodically do it with the safety and wildlife team together. They go to panchayat, villages. In the schools, awareness program was conducted. And last year again, the 100 children were selected from the neighboring villages. We took a special flight, Jet Airways flight, and made them to go around 100 kilometers and brought them back. So we don't fly, that, you know, that slogan was broken. And they also probably realized the need of having making an environment which is not attracting birds. So this kind of awareness program also we conduct periodically. This altogether involving the community is also very important to ensure that you have a bird-free environment. This all we do, and with this I close. If any questions are there, I think we can answer later. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the very comprehensive presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any queries, any questions, I'll have a form sent across. Are there any questions? Please.
Mr. Hari Kumar, just your thing on seasonal variation, which showed monsoon. But I understand Bangalore also has a winter monsoon, but you have very few bird strikes at that time. Is temperature also playing a part in that? Or any other factor?
Temperature? No, can you just...
No, in the sense that the June, July, August...
that's the highest.
But in December, November...
It is there.
December,
it is there if you look into that slide.
But very few. But very few.
October.
October it goes
October
up,
and November, I told again, this winged termite, and again that time rain is there. So that time we have issues.
Oh, so at that time
but when you compare throughout the year, the maximum strike is happening May, June, July. But otherwise, October is again, I have shown that even that slide of termite issue, that is in October.
That I saw. No, I'm talking of November, December when there are
October,
monsoon.
November is affected.
Okay, thank you.
No, that we get. We have a proper SOP for the carcass disposal. What we do is that if simply a dead body is found somewhere in the airfield, we bring it and analyze that if there is an evidence that there was a hit. Because examining the body, you know it. So then we conclude it as a hit, even though it is not reported. Yeah. Otherwise, simply see, birds die everywhere. When if airport is not there, birds has its own life, you know. You will find always dead birds everywhere. So when you find a dead bird, you have to analyze to just see whether it is really happened due to strike or is a natural death or due to illness or anything else. Even jet blast itself create, you know. So.
Mr. Hari, it was a wonderful presentation on bird management. I'm KPS Nair.
Sir.
The point I have to put in is that this June, July, August is not confined to Bangalore. From my experience analysis, we find it is across India. Maybe because of the monsoon, the insects, the grass grows and the insects and worms come out. And that period, of course, it is an education for airport authority also to learn that this period is most intensive bird prevalence all over, and airlines are affected very badly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have a question. Basically, you covered that the trend last 2 years, you have night owls coming up. And I'm sure there must be bats also, because we also experienced bat strike and owl strike recently. So how do you handle that? Because that you haven't covered in detail.
Yeah, not yet, because this trend we noticed it now, because especially the last year we
last
told
2 years
there were
you
four,
said.
Last year we had 4 strikes in the night.
Correct.
So now probably we have to discuss again with our ornithologist, and because the behavior, there must be something now happening in this area that attracts these species. But many things, the new species now started coming in the last 2 years. It was never there. So these are the trend. Unless you analyze this trend, the first thing is to identify. Am I right? So we identified it now. There is something new happening. So there the beginning starts. Now we need to exactly analyze why it is coming. What are the reasons which probably is, if anything is in our control, can we modify it? If it is due to the neighboring, I know a lot of population is happening, a lot of townships are coming up, many things are happening in and around the airport. So we have to probably analyze that Haridasan is working on in close with our Vanamitra to understand, because they are really expert in all these species. So it is for them to suggest something, then we will be taking.
Because you had 4 strikes and 2 years the trend is showing. I think it's too long a time to identify it.
Yeah.
Secondly, another question is the dog menace. How do you handle, dogs are there, what do you do with them?
See, for the last 3 years also, I can tell you, you cannot find a single dog in the airfield. It's not there. But landside it is there. Airfield we don't have. Totally we declare dog free. Not a single dog you will find, because first thing we have to evacuate. After evacuating, you have seen every small opening we have closed it. There is no possibility for a dog to enter, including the compound wall, wherever the opening was there. Gate, there are few cases when CSF is mining the gate. You open the gate, dog weren't. So they alert us. Then our people go catch and take them out. Airfield is totally free of dogs. But landside, we still have issue. There we are struggling with BBMB. And now we are engaging our own, the dog catchers. So this is the way we are handling. We have some difficulties on the land.
If you catch the dog, where do you leave them?
No, they take it away. They are some 25 kilometers away. You can't kill, The problem is that
the policy of BBMP, they leave it back to the same place after.
Same dog will not come back. Another set of dogs will come next day. This is what is happening. Dogs will be there because it gets food, People are feeding. You have a lot of food outlets. See, the ICAO is very clear. You have to create an environment that you won't attract the species, whatever, this dog or birds. That's not possible most of the time in the airport. The public is traveling all the way. What happened many times, everybody is traveling by nowadays, no frill. They carry food. In the car itself they have it, they throw out the things on the road. How can we control? That attracts the dogs. So public behavior is a main issue.
Are you taking any help from the BBMP?
Yeah, they were helping. I think, initially what they were doing is they are an agency. We are returned to them. Earlier there was a jurisdiction issue. It was not falling under BBMP. They refused. Then it was cleared. Then they were sending an agency, but we used to pay them for per dog. So that's the way. Now also we coordinate with them whenever the dog population goes up. And now we have a direct link with the agency, and on request they come.
As per the policy, they supposed to sterilize and put the dogs back to same place.
No, they take it and leave somewhere 20-25 kilometers away. If they put it same place.
No, they'll bring back at the same place. But any agency who's authorized to take them away.
I think we can discuss offline. I don't
tell us also
readily available. Yeah,
we can also have a solution. We also face the same problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. There are a lot of questions. I think we have a pertinent question from Mrs. Surendra from Thai Airways. Yes, Mrs. Surendra, I'll pass
We
it
have
over.
time by chance?
Yeah. We have time for the last question. This is the last question. The speaker would be delighted to answer your question during tea session because we have tea coming up next.
Can I have that? Regarding the birds control, was and is done on a runway side, especially you talk about. But when the airport was opened, did you have any control at the around airport? That is, we had set up some kind of canteens by BIL. So we had birds attraction, stray dogs, and a lot of insects.
Yep.
So what do you say about that? And any SOPs you're carried out or you have it in the manual?
I have only one. There was a slide which indicated we had 28 SOPs and 3 emergency operating procedures. That's a part of the manual. The last page we call it annexure. All these SOPs are the part of the manual. Now, as far as this entire the area is concerned, dog is not an operational hindrance if it is outside the airfield. Birds in the entire area you have to control. That is the reason we engaged Arthra initially. They 13-kilometer radius. They surveyed it. If you look into that report where this waste dumping is happening, they identified each and every slaughtery, the unauthorized slaughteries and the waste dumping, eateries without license, all those things they identified it within this 13 kilometers, the fish ponds. So that was the basis on which then we had to speak to the authorities because we can't go out and control the things. Then local authorities help was required. That's why whatever the best we could do those days, we could do it. But those days we were not getting very good support because the airport was not open. But now we are able to get good support from the local authorities and we are able to manage even outside the airport.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hari Kumar. Ladies and gentlemen, please note.
One small question I have, sorry. While complimenting you for the wonderful presentation, I have a small query. Apart from the dogs, do we have any special animals in this area? Like in the Rajasthan area, we have blue bulls. Do you have anything? You have identified anything?
It is there, but again, it is outside the present airfield. We have jackals, we have rabbits is a threat again. Many times we have this rabbit, that's why we do monthly 2 or 3 night combing where we have to take out all the rabbits. Rabbits are creating problem in the airfield. Otherwise, these jackals and the big, there's a wolf also spotted. Forget about 1 year back, you must be knowing there was a leopard with 4 cubs. I don't know how many of you are aware. 1 month we had a major issue, which is outside, not in the airfield. So we brought the specialists, we have been observing it, and because it came, I think during pregnancy, it moves always to a safe place. So it's all connected, that belt, you have a forest belt. So many times, there is a seasonal effect also, certain animals are spotted. But we basically today concentrate only on the airfield. Airfield is made totally free from the wildlife. But other areas, still it is untouched, serene land is there. There now second runway and other facilities are going to come. That area still we have issues. But we monitor and ensure that it is not coming to airfield.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.